with him and wouldn't pay any attention because he didn't want to be involved with a leader who was just ahead of an election. He didn't want to influence the election.
Yeah,
and yet he pays for his staff, or rather he makes us pay for his staff to go to Israel to influence that election against that foreign leader, which in itself could be considered an act of war, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And then, but when Bibi stands up and says something about foreign interests paying Arabs to vote, he's considered a nasty, divisive racist. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to interrupt you. What about all of the Democrat campaigners that go into the colleges to load the kids up on the buses to go vote? I'm looking at the parallels. It's just too ironic to go, what? Yeah. But looks like Bibi had his own tea party at work there, but I'll come back to that. So the other thing that was kind of interesting is one of the same campaign operative firms that is used, I think, by Rand Paul was in Israel working for Bibi, which was a nice touch. I don't think Rand paid or influenced in any way, but there just happened to be some common staff there.
I did not know that.
But as I say, it's really quite impressive. And I think Bibi had his tea party at work because the exit polls showed it to be a nail biter. However, as soon as they started counting the actual votes, it's quite clear that the conservative supporters were out in force.
So the U.S. mainstream media was covering the election then.
Yeah.
Yes, they probably were, and counting the exit polls. And oh look, Lurch won. Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh! But then the more serious WTF is going to be Israel's staunchest ally. Period has been America, and now all of a sudden Obama, all by his lonesome, against the bipartisan support of the American people as well as in Congress, is basically going to give Israel the heave-ho into the pit of despots, dictators, and Islamic jihadists called the UN.
Because he's not guaranteeing that the UN will stand behind Israel if any votes of censure come up.
Well, America will stand behind any UN. You missed a word there.
Yeah.
So, the other thing, all he has to do is say, well, we're not going to send you any more military hardware. I mean, that's basically saying to Israel, die.
Yeah. I think actually there's a couple of factors at work here. First of all, I think Israel's technology and economy has reached the point where, at least for a couple of years, they can do without us. Secondly, don't forget, we didn't build their nukes for them. Secondly, there are pictures out there of Bibi and Putin understanding each other far better than Bibi and Obama, because they both understand how to lead. We may not like how Putin leads.
True.
And this looks like a tailor-made commercial opportunity for Russian arms manufacturers.
Well, I don't know if Israel would put up with the Russian arms, because a lot of the Russian arms, anti-aircraft missiles aside, they pretty much suck compared to most Western technology, and especially compared to Israeli technology. They may not have a lot, but what they've got is high grade and high quality, where the Russians are sort of like, eh.
Yeah,
China is starting to outsell Russia, so what does that tell you?
Worry.
Yeah, well, that's another story. That's another story, along with our Navy fleet dropping below 300 and all of that. We've got a lot of nice gizmos, but unfortunately war is a case of attrition. And when you've got like a $12 billion aircraft carrier, the USS Ford, that's just about ready to come online in a year or so, that's nice. But, how many missile frigates could you pay for with $13 billion?
Right. I mean, you need your Aegis cruisers and high-end frigates to be able to zip around and menace the enemy.
Yeah, I mean that's
often you can win just by showing up.
Yeah, and that's something that Obama doesn't believe in, and I think that's another one of our transformations. In this, he's just like Jimmy Carter in saying we don't need this big military, and all of the readiness studies that I've seen have said, we would be straining to fight one major war. We can't do two, which is the exact same situation we found ourselves after the Jimmy Carter term when as really the Vietnam era was falling off.
Mm-hmm.
First starting with Nixon, it was the peace dividend. Well, guess what? Just like that, Steve's post
The only thing to
shows
do
it.
with the peace dividend is to reinvest it to making sure the peace stays a peace.
Yeah. Well, Steve, you had a post up about the Democrats and the price of rape that just went ballistic last night.
Yeah, that I wrote that a while ago.
Yeah, and Susan
Bruce decided that she was going to jump in and comment, and she started a firestorm of comments, and it's still going on.
I haven't checked this morning.
I haven't checked either.
I bet I have a
I
bunch
just
of
know
things
there's
I have to moderate when I get home.
I know there's a lot of them.
Uh-huh.
And that's fine. I don't spend a lot of time reading comments. I have a hard enough time finding time to write at this point. So.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that I have to.
You have to. Yes.
I have to. And I spent more time moderating comments than I had time to post last night. So thank you, Steve.
That tells
That's a good problem.
No, it was Susan the Bruce who did it. Thank you. I wrote that a while ago, and it didn't get nearly the outrage I expected. I really did expect a significant amount of outrage.
This is a long-term fuse grenade.
Well, Susan wasn't in an accident. She really wasn't 100%. I can see maybe she didn't have time to come and troll the site and find all that stuff. So, but she's back.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Stirring up the outrage.
I live for that.
Democrats' war on women, and they've certainly declared war on women with Hillary, or have they declared, in fact, Warren women?
Warren women. I already I have that. There's a name tag. You can use it. It says.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Benghazi and Warren women walk into a bar. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've used that repeatedly. I love that. I don't know. I think I'm up to 3 or 4 now.
Yeah. Well, but it seems to be an ongoing thing. Sometime about last June, I wrote a post said that the one to watch was Warren. Just look at the way the liberal grassroots react to her.
Which could be another one of our WTFs.
Well,
NH27 Democrats. That's the hashtag.
Yes, exactly. So lately, Rush Limbaugh
it's been 27 NH Democrats. I apologize.
Yeah. Lately, Rush Limbaugh's been catching up with me and saying the one to watch is Warren. The Democrats appear not to like Hillary, and they're beginning to realize she's not inevitable. And you're seeing a movement, and the liberal grassroots are favoring Warren. And then we have, as you say, 27 New Hampshireites, Democrats, of course, saying "Run, Liz, run."
We also have Cindy Rosenwald resurrecting the myth of the $800 million deficit, but I think the winner would have to be HB 357 being converted into DOT funding and a gas tax.
Well, that certainly goes a long ways to doing it. I really think the biggest WTF, now that you brought up New Hampshire legislation, is the whole way that the Republicans have just totally destroyed their own messaging. That here's Governor Maggie the Red Hassan doing a $1 billion increase, $1 billion, a 12% increase in 1 year of the New Hampshire budget. But every single writer in the mainstream media is talking about the Republicans cutting that proposed budget. You can't cut a proposed budget. It's only proposed. And, they just can't get out of their own way. You look at these folks and you go, who are their communications folks?
They suck.
They suck in the House.
They absolutely suck.
And, I don't think that the Senate is doing all that much better, even with the gentle ministrations of Grant Bossy as the comms communications guy. It's just not working out too well. They're better than the House, but that doesn't necessarily mean much.
They're chickens. There's a word that goes at the end of that, but I'm going to leave it off. They have no...
Does it belong... start with
gonads. They have no gonads. It's insane how afraid these people are of getting out and delivering gut blows and doing what needs to get done to make it work. Well, they are never going to win a damn thing, and after this Republican House, they don't deserve to.
No, and
that Senate that we still have.
Yeah. So the key thing is a Republican...
The key thing is you got to hold that thought because we're coming back in 10 seconds. Stay tuned.
GrokTV.